Instead, we have the opportunity to make a habit of empathy, to recognize ourselves and each other.
Empathizing with these young people who get hurt unless the elders stand up here and protect them. I mean, from the outrageous police violence. When this group was cops moving down here, you know who they attacked? The young African American kids. This being one. They didn't attack us, you know. So it's like our duty in a way to just hang out here and be
kind of stand between, be present between the two sides.
Exactly, because I empathize.
Wait,
with
no,
all
I'm not
these
between the two sides. I'm on the side of the people who are here angry and protesting about what happened and this injustice, how something that happened that every one of the black people here and all of us know can happen to anybody here. So I'm not in between. I'm here to attempting to protect people who came here to peacefully protest from a provocation by the police that turned a peaceful protest into a tense situation, an excuse for them to be violent.
So there's a lack of empathy going on. I'm kind of exploring like how empathy relates.
Empathy. I mean, it's like the police are not here to be empathetic. The police are here. It's all about control. It's not about empathy. It's about control and power and shutting down people who are righteously angry and provoking a situation that justifies their use of excessive force on people.
If anything, these young people were very empathetic. There was speaking from the mic, from their hearts, no violence, nada, until these cops start moving on us, and then people react. Still, even now, there's no significant violence. I mean, you know, who's making the violence? It's the cops. Exactly, they're provoking.
Why?
You know, they're provoking violence because they want to control, like, you know, my comrade here says they want to control the whole scene.
Okay, well, you're trying to have empathy. How about for empathy for the police who are behind you?
It's easy to be a cop. There's different ways of policing. We have been fighting for 30 years to get community control of police in Oakland. There has been year and year fight. We get mayors who say yes and then they say no and we don't have it. So we've been trying to develop an empathetic relationship with our cops for 30 years, and it's still at, you know, whatever. We're still very far apart.
Into an empathetic relationship with them.
This is not the time to ask me about empathy when I've just been jabbed in the back by a bunch of cops and continually jabbed up the street for being here peacefully protesting. Cause provoke. I have no empathy for them right now. If they want my empathy, they can back off and leave us be, having our protest, having our righteous anger, expressing ourselves in the streets, which we have an absolute right to do. This is what the streets should be for on this day, and they are attempting to shut it down. This Ocean Newman.
How old are you?
I'm 71.
So what can we do to create more empathy? Like I mean, they're human beings. We're all human beings here.
We're trained to be cops, to be in control, and to be indifferent to people's suffering. They have no sense of the vulnerability of these young people in Oakland who are constantly abused, brutalized by OPD and other police forces. They have no empathy for these children. They don't see them as their children. We see them as our children, and that's the difference. We do have empathy.
We can do to create more empathy. Like, is it like talking, or I mean,
there has to be a top-down cultural shift in the Oakland Police Department.
A top-down control shift of the whole country, of the whole mentality.
Paradigm shift, yes.
A culture of empathy, maybe.
That would be very nice.
That's what I'm trying to work on. How can we create a culture of empathy where we can all listen?
Try for justice. Try a little bit for justice.
Don't worry about empathy. Try justice.
Try justice first. Yeah. You're not going to get empathy unless you have justice. You're not going to have peace unless you have justice, and you're not going to get empathy from people unless there's justice. The people who somebody has a foot on your neck, you're not going to have a whole lot of empathy for the person with a foot on the neck. If he gets off, maybe then we can have a cup of coffee. But that's not the way it is right now. That's not the way it is right now in this street with them with their gas masks on.
Ready to shoot us with rubber bullets and bean bags and tear gas. And you know, I've seen people hurt very badly with tear gas canisters. These are not, so quote unquote sub-lethal or non-lethal weapons. They can be very lethal. You know, we were shot at by OPD at the Port of Oakland in 2004 around the invasion of Iraq. 2003. You know, a lot of people with children and, you know, wheelchairs were shot by OPD because they thought we were a bunch of white anarchists.
Maybe we can have like a conference on how to build a culture of empathy and invite the police and everybody together so we could all kind of talk about it.
You know,
talk to the chief first. That's the way to start.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong people.
I think that the police are not allowed to talk.
Well, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Well, how come they can't talk?
They're
talking
droids.
with their clubs. They're talking with their gas masks. They're talking plenty. They threatened us. They declared an unlawful assembly out of their loudspeaker. That's talk. It's saying that every single one of us who was here peacefully protest was illegally assembling. You know, that's what they did. Which means that each one of us now is subject to arrest, subject to police violence if we don't move away. So they're talking.
Talk to the police. Who can talk to us?
Look at these are two city council
why don't you
women.
go?